Okay, we are live. Happy Wednesday, everyone. We are deep into the tiny habits discussion. For anybody who's just joining us, the Tiny Habits Weeks are based off of researcher BJ Fogg, his work out of Stanford. And I love his work. I'm very connected with his work. I'm part of his coach team. We have office hours together. BJ is a great guy. He's incredibly knowledgeable. I really trust his research in this area of behavior change and behavior design. And as I mentioned on Monday, what often happens with researchers is, they throw themselves all in on their methodology and their designs or their methods and their methodologies. And it sort of becomes all consuming, as in, well, my way is not the only way, but it becomes, how do I say it? They need to go all in on their design, on their methodology, right? And BJ is no different, as he should be, right? So the beauty of what I get to do is be able to look at all kinds of methods and all kinds of tools and all kinds of different ways of healing and bring them to you all. And so while I think behavior design and tiny habits is incredibly powerful and incredibly impactful, I do think there's a time and place for it. And that comes after some more clarity about your self-concept, your identity, your paradigms, the way that the brain keeps you stuck in repeated patterns, some of that stuff that we've been working on up until this point, and then being able to get some clarity about where the rubber meets the road, right? What behaviors am I doing or not doing? What do I want to be doing or stop doing? That's where behavior design and tiny habits comes in and is incredibly effective. So that's where we are in our process. Monday, I talked about the fact that we are all a compilation of habits. Yesterday, I talked about BJ Fogg's behavior model, which is that behavior equals motivation, ability, and prompt. No behavior happens without a prompt. And then there's a combination of ability and motivation that come together in this connected way, correlated way, and that creates a behavior. And so if we're really taking a step back and looking at any behaviors we have in our lives, we are looking at there's a prompt that creates the behavior, that prompts you to do the behavior. And then what motivation and ability, where are those vectors and how is that pushing you up or above or below the action line, right? We did that yesterday. There is a file for you in your resources that show you a visual of this, which is motivation on one axis and ability on another axis, and the action line sort of as a smiling curve in there. And you can see as your motivation goes down, but your ability goes up, where you fall on the action line, as your motivation goes up, but your ability goes down, where you fall on the action line. And that really is the way any behavior happens. So today we are going to talk about ability. We're going to talk about the ability factor in behaviors. And tomorrow and Friday, I'm going to introduce tiny habits, what they are, how to create a tiny habit recipe. And then many of you have already sent me your emails to be included in the coaching for next week. As I said before, BJ has a 5-day tiny habits coaching. It's a free thing. Anybody can sign up anytime, but if you go and use that link, you won't get me as your coach. You'll get probably a coach in training. That's part of our coaching training, is to coach through that platform as part of our training. So you'll probably get a coach in training. If you want to coach with me, just send me your email. I'm going to input all of you on Friday, and you will start getting emails about the Tiny Habits coaching in 5 days. It's going to require us to create recipes, which I'm going to tell you about tomorrow and Friday. Your tiny habit recipes, they're very simple and easy to understand, very easy to create, but I'm going to coach you through iterating them, changing them, and making sure that they're effective all next week. If you have not done so already, you can either send me a DM if you're on Facebook. You can send me a message on Mighty Network if you're watching this there, and just send me your email. That's all I need is your email, and I'll put you on the list to coach with me next week. You can also just email me at elizakingsford@gmail.com. okay? As I said before, many of you are emailing me. If you don't hear back from me, it's not because I didn't get it. It's just because I'm trying to just take the email, plop it in the spreadsheet. If for some reason you don't receive an email from the Tiny Habits program this weekend, Friday or Saturday, let me know. I will make sure I upload you. Maybe I missed it or something like that, or it went to my spam. So if you don't hear from me, it's not because you're not in, it's just because I don't have time all day to respond to every email that I get with the signing up for Tiny Habits. Okay. So yesterday I mentioned, and I taught that no behavior happens without a prompt, okay? Which means if you're not prompted to do the behavior, it's not gonna happen. You have an intention to call your mom, you don't remember to call her, it's not gonna happen. There has to be a prompt for you to do a behavior. So let's assume there is a prompt, okay? Now let's work on the vectors, which are motivation and ability. And remember, yesterday we talked about how those two things need to come together in order for a behavior to happen. So let's talk about how we figure out where the issue is. And the best thing you can do if you are trying to, and remember, we're going to focus on start behaviors, not stop behaviors, just for the sake of simplicity. Start behaviors are things like, I want to start a yoga practice. I want to start running. I want to eat healthy foods. I want to start meditating. I want to start journaling. I want to start walking, whatever it is, start behaviors. There is a similar but different process for stop behaviors, which is I want to stop eating. I want to stop having sugar. I want to stop yelling at my husband. I want to stop, whatever. We're going to focus on start behaviors, not stop behaviors right now, so that we don't get all mixed up and muddied, okay? When we're looking at a start behavior, the very first thing we want to ask if we are, so let me just say that some behaviors happen easily. Let's say that you want to start drinking coffee in the morning and you're super motivated and it's easy to do, you're just going to start drinking it, right? You don't have to go through this process for every behavior. This is the process for behaviors that you keep saying you want to do, but you can't get yourself to do it. You keep saying, I want to do yoga, but it never sticks. You keep saying you want to walk more, but you never stick. You keep saying you want to go to the gym, but you never go, okay? That's where this type of process comes in handy. So the first thing you want to do is ask the discovery question, which is, what is making this behavior hard to do? What is making this behavior hard to do? Let's take the example of going to the gym, okay? We've all done it before. I really want to go to the gym. I go and buy a gym membership. In a state of super high motivation, I say, I'm going to go 3 days a week to the gym every week. And maybe you do it for the first week, second week you go 2 days, third week you go 1 day, 6 weeks later, you're not going to the gym at all. Start over again. I want to go to the gym. Motivation, go for a week, motivation starts to wane, not going at all. This is the cycle that most people get in. So part of breaking that cycle is to look at where in the ability chain things are getting hung up. So we first ask the question, what is making this behavior hard to do? And as BJ teaches in his research, he feels like there are 5 key categories that make a behavior hard to do. Time, money, physical effort, mental effort, and routine. Time, money, physical effort, mental effort, and routine. Time. Do I have enough time to do the behavior? That's a big one for a lot of people. Money. Do I have enough money to do the behavior? Physical effort. Is it hard physically to do the behavior? Mental effort. Does it take a lot of thought? Does it take a lot of analyzing? Does it take a lot of thinking to get a project done, right? To write the project or write the report for your meeting, whatever. Does it take a lot of mental effort? And routine. Does it mess up something in your typical normal daily routine? These are the most common 5 barriers in the ability chain, according to BJ Fogg. And so you want to, if you're having trouble answering that question, what is making this behavior hard to do? You want to start to look at those links in the ability chain. So if we're going back to our example of going to the gym, it's probably a number of these, right? So it takes time to go to the gym. You need to drive there, get there, locker room, change, whatever, do your workout, drive home, okay? Money. So if you haven't already bought a gym membership, there could possibly be a money constraint there. Physical effort, right? Going to the gym is going to take some physical effort. Mental effort could be, what am I going to do there? I don't know what to do, right? I don't have a workout routine. I don't have a workout regimen. It takes a lot of thought to figure out what to do. And then routine, you got to put it in somewhere. So going to the gym could hit all 5 of those in the ability chain. And so here we are getting frustrated with ourselves for not just going to the gym when we've got all of these different barriers to why it makes that behavior hard. And so the visual of that is if we have a break or a crack here in the ability chain, which in this case, we might have all 5. If we have a crack in the ability chain, what happens is that the vector of whatever is pushing against that ability becomes higher than our motivation to go, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say you're prompted to go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, right? You're prompted to go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning because you have your alarm set for that. Okay, so there's your prompt. You've got a prompt. And do you have the ability to go at 5:30 in the morning? Yes, I do, but I don't seem to be going. So what is making that behavior hard to do? Well, you go through it and you say, is it time? Well, no, I made the time to go. I have from 5:30 to 7, I've got the time to go. Is it money? Nope, I already have my gym membership. It's already paid for. It's not the money. Physical effort. Well, it does take physical effort for me to get out of my bed, go pick out my clothes, right? Get into the car, go to the gym, right? So it becomes hard to get to the gym because I have to go through all these steps to get there. Mental effort. Well, I also have to think about what am I going to do at the gym? I don't really have a clear direction. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing. Should I lift weights? Should I walk? Should I do yoga? Should I take a class? I don't really know. So we've got physical effort and mental effort that are making that difficult. And so what happens is that our motivation to go to the gym starts to diminish. And then because of the physical effort and the mental effort, and so the motivation to hit the snooze button becomes a vector pushing us, like pushing against that motivation to go to the gym, right? So I want to hit the snooze button is easier, right? It takes less physical effort. It takes less mental effort. It's routine, right? Bam, I can just hit the snooze button. I've done that my whole life, right? So that vector starts to push up when one of the vectors gets hard, and it pushes us below the action line. So what we want to do is start to solve for the physical effort and the mental effort, because those are the pieces in your ability chain that are pushing you below the action line. So I'm going to skip ahead here and say, if you can solve for those links in the ability chain on your own, then go for it. Ask yourself, what is making this hard to do? Find the link in the ability chain that's making it hard to do. Is it time, money, physical effort, mental effort, or routine, or some combination of all of them? And then see if you can solve for it. So for the example of this person, perhaps they can decide the night before what their routine is going to be at the gym, or sometime the day before. Can they put it in their calendar to say, here's what I'm going to do while I'm at the gym. I'm going to do, the bike for 15 minutes. I'm going to walk for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to do some abs for 10 minutes, whatever. So they have a plan so that when the alarm goes off the next morning, there's no mental effort. What am I going to do? I don't know what plan I'm going to come up with. That ability chain has been taken care of. And so the vector of the snooze button goes down because you've taken care of that ability, that mental effort ability. Now the physical effort, right? I don't want to get out of bed, right? It's It's too easy to stay here and hit the snooze button. It's hard to get out of bed, right? So I've had people who will set an alarm in another room, like in the bathroom or in the hallway or something like that. And their risk is waking up the entire family unless they go turn that alarm off, right? And so then you take care of the physical effort it takes to get out of bed, because now I got to go get that alarm before my husband wakes up, before my kids wake up or something like that. And I've had people for whom that works really well. So now that the physical effort of getting out of bed, that vector is not pushing on you because you got up to turn the alarm off, you're less likely to go back to bed. So you've taken care of the two vectors that are pushing you down below the action line, all right? But we don't get to that when we just say, I'm not doing a behavior. Why? Just do it. Just go to the gym. Just do it. Just go to the gym. Why don't you go to the gym? You didn't go to the gym today. And we start to get frustrated with ourselves without looking at it like a science project. What's going on here? What is making it so that this is hard for me to do? How can I address those factors that are making this hard for me to do? Okay, let me check here and see if you guys have any questions about that process. Today, your takeaway for today is to say, okay, what behavior is hard for me to start? Where's my start behavior that's hard? Can I ask myself the discovery question? What is making this behavior hard to do? Then can I take a look at where the link in the ability chain may be going off? Time, mental effort, physical effort, money, routine, okay? And then, like I said, if you can find ways to just break the issue in the ability chain, in other words, fix the issue in the ability chain, try to do that, right? Try to decide, oh, okay, for the example of going to the gym, I can put my alarm in the other room. I can plan ahead for my workouts so that those things don't keep me from getting up in the morning. Great, take care of it. If you're having trouble, here's where Tiny Habits comes in, okay? Tiny Habits is a process. Tomorrow and Friday, I'm going to teach you exactly what that process is, exactly how to create a tiny habit, why making it tiny is so important, why celebration is incredibly important, and how you can link it to the right anchor or prompt. That all happens tomorrow and Friday, so don't miss that. Hopefully you are learning more about habits and the way habits work this week. I would love to hear your questions, things you are pondering. It doesn't look like you have any right now. Feel free to put them in the video if you have any questions. Otherwise, we will pick this up tomorrow and I will teach you the Tiny Habits method and recipes. Don't forget to send me your email if you want to do Tiny Habits coaching next week.